Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Victor from Senior Vitality Now, where you'll find easy, practical tips to live healthy, stay happy, and keep your strength after 60.
My dear friends, I once had a teacher, a Japanese doctor, who is now 105 years old. I have studied and worked alongside him for nearly 20 years. In that time, I have witnessed countless people being admitted to hospital after a seemingly minor fall. The heartbreaking truth is, not everyone can get back up after such a fall. I remember one early morning in the geriatric ward, they brought in a man in his 70s. His right leg was strapped in a splint, his face twisted in pain. His family told me, "Doctor, he only slipped a little in the bathroom. Nothing serious." But the x-ray told another story. A fractured thigh bone, shrunken muscles, no longer strong enough to bear his body weight. He spent 2 months in hospital, then another 6 months at home before he could limp around again. One fall had taken away his freedom. The truly frightening thing is not the fall itself, but something far more silent, the slow, quiet draining of our strength each day, unnoticed. Many believe you only fall if you have a serious illness or a big accident. But no. After the age of 60, if you do not move in the right way, your body loses nearly 5 to 9% of its muscle mass every year. Many people say, "But I still go to the market, still cook, still live normally." Yet the truth is, the muscles have already weakened without them realizing. Then one day, just a misstep can leave you unable to stand. The greatest loss is not the pain. It is losing the ability to be independent. No longer able to dress yourself, no longer able to brew a pot of tea as before. And the saddest thing is that at the very stage when our body needs the most care, many people simply give up. I've heard so many say, "It doesn't matter what I eat now. I'm just happy to be alive. I'll walk as long as I can, but I've no energy to think about keeping my muscles and bones strong. Eggs and milk are for children. Why should older people bother?" In truth, reaching this age is a blessing, but keeping your steps steady every morning, walking around the garden or to the market, seeing your grandchildren without needing someone to hold you, that is the dignity of old age. I always remind my patients, caring for your muscles means caring for your independence. Don't wait until the day you cannot stand before regretting the time you didn't act. Even with age, our body still has the ability to recover if we know how to care for it properly. You don't need expensive medicines or heavy exercise like the young, just the right small actions done consistently every day. Today, I want to share with you 5 very simple things anyone can do. Among them, there are 2 things you must urgently avoid because they quietly waste away your muscles day by day, and 3 things you should start right now, whether you're 70 or even 90, to keep walking steadily and living fully. And of those 3 things, there is one that many people overlook, yet it could decide whether you'll ever need someone to bring your meals to your bedside. If you can still walk, still look after yourself, then this message is for you. And if you've begun to feel your legs tiring or your hands weakening, I hope this video will feel like a gentle hand pulling you back towards the independence you should never give up. Let's begin with the first thing to avoid: eating just to get it over with. Eating out of obligation, not nourishment. My dear friends, I have lost count of how many times I've heard this from patients. "It doesn't matter what I eat. I've no appetite anymore." But the very people who say this are often the ones I've seen stay in hospital the longest, suffer the most pain, and remain the weakest. You see, after the age of 60, our bodies begin a silent process called sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss. It doesn't cause swelling like arthritis or shortness of breath like heart disease, but each year you can lose 5 to 9% of your muscle mass without even realizing it. What's worse is that older people can still lose muscle even if their body weight hasn't changed. On the outside, they may look the same, but inside, the muscle has been replaced by fat, by water. Like a house that looks fine on the outside but is rotting within. And the habit that causes muscle to disappear fastest?
If you find this helpful, tap the like button and leave me a comment, a tudo, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss our health tips.
Careless eating. The first thing to avoid, neglecting protein. For many elderly people today, meal times have been reduced to eating just to get through the day. A bowl of plain porridge, a little pickled vegetable, instant noodles, or boiled grilled greens. These have little or no protein, the very nutrient essential for feeding your muscles. Muscle is living tissue. Without the raw materials to sustain it, it will waste away. I remember the case of a 74-year-old woman from Trang Bom. She was admitted to hospital with trembling hands, tired legs, unable to stand from a chair without support. Her x-rays showed no fractures or osteoporosis, but when we measured her muscle mass, it was shockingly low, just 5 to 8% of the minimum healthy level. It turned out that for the past 2 years, she had been living alone, eating nothing but porridge or rice with soy sauce. She was afraid of high cholesterol, afraid of eating meat, afraid her children would accuse her of being fussy about food. The result, one day, while reaching for something on a high shelf, she fell and fractured her hip. She spent 3 weeks in hospital and 5 months in physiotherapy. Her family had to take turns taking time off work to care for her. Between medical bills, rehab, a wheelchair, and adult nappies, the cost was over 60 million VND. But the greatest cost wasn't the money. It was the loss of freedom she would never regain. My friends, without protein, muscles have no building blocks to repair themselves. Without leucine, an amino acid found in eggs, meat, and fish, your muscles don't receive the signal to grow again. Without vitamin D, magnesium, and B12, muscles become weaker and nerve signals misfire, affecting your balance. These tiny nutrients may seem unimportant, but if they are missing, you may one day feel you are no longer yourself. And the consequences don't end with one fall. From that moment on, it may mean no longer going to the toilet unaided, not being able to dress yourself, not daring to carry a pot of hot water, not climbing even 3 steps, not holding your grandchild because your arms shake and your knees ache. You'll have to call someone to help. Call your children home. Ask your grandchildren to skip school. From being the pillar of the family, you become someone who must be held up. The saddest part is that this doesn't happen because of a serious accident or illness. It happens because we've neglected our meals for too long. Eating just to fill your stomach, not caring whether it's nutritious, until one day your body answers back. You can't stand up, can't walk, can't get out of bed. If you realize you've been eating like this, let me say this as gently but as honestly as I can. Your body is being starved. Not of calories, but of protein, of nutrients, of care. And once muscle has wasted away, it's very hard to bring back, like an old shirt left crumpled in a corner, faded and worn, no longer fitting as it once did. And eating properly still isn't enough, because if you take in nutrients but spend the whole day sitting without moving, your muscles will still disappear. The second thing to avoid, sitting too much. And what's even more dangerous than eating poorly, it's when we let our legs slowly abandon us, day after day, while we're still alive, without even noticing. Yes, eating wrongly is harmful, but there's another silent mistake many make, repeating it every single day without realizing. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't make you tired, but it drains your strength faster than almost anything else in old age, sitting for too long. Sitting is meant for resting. But if you spend the whole day sitting, day after day, month after month, then it's no longer rest. It's sending in your resignation letter to your muscles. The human body has one unbreakable rule. Any part that isn't used will be erased. Muscles are no exception. If they're not worked, they will shrink, tighten, and weaken until one day you can no longer get up from your favorite chair. I once examined a man in his 70s from Gokong. He ate well, his children were supportive, but for 3 whole years he hardly left the house. In the morning, he'd sit drinking tea. After lunch, he'd lie in his hammock. In the evening, he'd stand at the doorway watching the traffic go by. He took fewer than 200 steps a day. When he finally came to hospital after slipping in the bathroom, he was still alert, with no major illness. But when we measured his leg muscle mass, it had dropped below the red warning line. I asked him if his legs ever felt tired. He shook his head. I don't go anywhere, so they don't ache. And that's exactly why. Because he hadn't gone anywhere. His legs had abandoned him long before he realized. Muscle loss doesn't wait until you're 90. It can creep in quietly from your early 60s. If you let your legs rest too long, the muscles stop receiving signals from the brain. Muscles that aren't bearing weight no longer receive proper nourishment. And then one day you'll try to stand, but can't. You'll try to hold on, but still fall. You'll want to walk, but your legs will no longer obey. The deepest pain is not the fall itself. It's not being able to go to the toilet on your own, not being able to step outside, not being able to hold your grandchild because your arms have grown weak. And even worse, at that point, you'll need someone to lift you. A child will leave work to care for you. A grandchild will stop going to school because there's no one else to stay with you. Monthly costs for adult nappies, supplements, and carers will mount up. The price of sitting too long is not only a higher risk of falling, it's the loss of control over your own life, from being independent to becoming dependent. And the bitter truth is, it could have been avoided if you had simply chosen to stand up and move a little earlier. Muscles are life. If you don't use them, you lose them. If you don't move, they waste away. Don't wait until you need a walking stick to regret the strong, bare legs you once had. Don't wait until you are lying motionless to realize you'd been letting go of yourself all those years you sat still. If tomorrow morning you can still get up, dress yourself, and step outside, be glad. Because you still have the right to keep your freedom as long as you don't let your body forget that it can still walk. The first thing to do, nourish your muscles with greens, beans, and nuts. Once you know what weakens your muscles, the next step is to find healthy, easy, and sustainable ways to keep them strong. And sometimes it's the gentlest things, like a leaf of green, that can preserve a lifetime of steady steps. The first thing you should do, feed your muscles with greens, beans, and nuts, the wholesome gifts of Mother Earth. Some people ask me, Doctor, what should I eat to be strong again? I smile and reply, eat the foods you've always eaten, but this time, eat them with gratitude. Gratitude that your body can still absorb nutrients. Gratitude that you can still chew, swallow, cook for yourself, and eat without help. Gratitude that the earth still gives us foods that are both nourishment and medicine for the muscles, if we know how to use them. I once had a patient, an 82-year-old man in New York. Every morning, he cycled to the riverside, sat and watched the water for a while, then cycled home. His arms were still firm, his legs still steady. I asked him his secret. He replied simply, every day I eat a handful of beans and a few cashews. It sounds simple, but as a doctor who has treated thousands of cases of muscle loss, I know it's a golden foundation for a strong body. You see, greens, beans, and nuts may be light on the plate now, but they are powerful allies against the silent decline of muscle. Greens, especially spinach, sweet leaf, amaranth, and kale, contain natural nitrates that improve blood flow to every muscle fiber. If the blood flows, oxygen and nutrients reach the muscles. When circulation is good, muscles are nourished, cleansed, and refreshed. Greens also provide vitamin C, magnesium, and calcium, nutrients that help muscles contract smoothly, reduce cramps, and keep you balanced when you turn or step. I've had elderly patients who, after just a month of eating greens daily, no longer had shaky hands or tired legs without taking a single pill. Beans. Red beans, black beans, chickpeas, lentils are a steady source of plant protein, feeding muscles slowly and sustainably without adding fat or causing heat in the body. They also contain resistant starch, which your gut's good bacteria love. And a healthy gut means better nutrient absorption, less inflammation, and slower muscle degeneration. Nuts, almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds are little medicines hidden in your palm. They contain plant-based omega-3s, vitamin E, and zinc, which reduce muscle inflammation, keep hormones stable, and slow the aging process. I once met a 78-year-old woman in Long An. Every day she ate rice with pennywort soup, but in the afternoons she always had a handful of roasted cashews and a few boiled red beans. She told me, "I don't eat much, but I choose foods that care for old age." I nodded, because those caring foods are what help us live long without living weak. My friends, not everyone can afford imported milk, bird's nest, or ginseng. But greens, beans, and nuts are sold in every market and can appear on every table. Just a plate of boiled greens, a bowl of vegetable soup, a spoonful of braised beans, a handful of fragrant roasted nuts. That is your way of telling your body, I still care for you. I still want you strong so you can keep walking, keep standing, and live well for the rest of our days. And the miracle is, your body hears that message. The second thing to do, a daily glass of plant-based milk to keep muscles strong without raising cholesterol. If meals are the roots, then here is another simple, gentle habit that quietly nourishes the body day after day without strain. Many people overlook it, but once they try it, they see clear results. The second thing you should do, drink a daily glass of plant-based milk to keep your muscles strong without worrying about cholesterol. At this age, many people hesitate to drink milk. Some fear high cholesterol. Others have weak stomachs and feel bloated or uncomfortable after drinking it. Some simply say, milk is for children. We're too old for that. I understand, because I've heard it countless times in my decades as a doctor. But that's exactly why I want to share with you today a kind of milk not meant for children, but specially suited for older adults, milk from plants and seeds. You see, our body needs at least 50 to 60 grams of protein every day to feed our muscles, maintain life functions, and repair cells. But if we only rely on our three main meals, which are often plain and low in protein, we will almost certainly fall short. When we're short of protein, muscles weaken. Weak muscles lead to loose knees, a hunched back, and shaky hands. And the older we get, the harder it becomes to absorb protein from meat and fish, meaning we lose muscle even faster than the young. That's why I often tell my patients, add 1 glass of plant-based milk to your daily routine. I don't mean cow's milk. I mean soy milk, oat milk, almond milk, lotus seed milk, mung bean milk, or roasted brown rice milk. These are gentle on the stomach, less likely to cause bloating, free from cholesterol, yet rich in plant protein that's easy to absorb, along with magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, and B12, the golden nutrients that help maintain muscle mass, keep bones strong, and the mind alert. I recall a lady named Tu from Vinh Long. She was very slim, with bright eyes but weak legs and trembling hands, climbing stairs slowly. When I asked about her meals, she said she ate little rice and watery soup. But every morning her daughter made her a warm glass of soy milk, and every afternoon she had a glass of roasted brown rice milk. That was all. Yet after just 3 months, she could go to the market again, and her hands no longer shook when pouring tea. She looked at me with a cheeky smile and said, "Turns out old folks need milk too. As long as you choose the right kind, the body loves it." My friends, some people spend 5 million VND a month on supplements, yet remain weak and tired. Meanwhile, a glass of plant-based milk costing less than 10,000 VND quietly nourishes the body each day. Don't underestimate it. Milk is not just a drink. It's a whisper of nourishment, a quiet source of strength. This is especially true for those who can't eat much, often feel tired, or struggle to sleep. Many plant-based milks today are even fortified with organic calcium, omega-3, and B vitamins, supporting the heart, reducing osteoporosis, and doing so without raising cholesterol. Drinking 1 glass means preserving your muscles, your mind, and your independence, and most importantly, keeping life light, calm, and free from dependency. I'm not asking you to skip meals. I'm asking that every older person take a moment each morning or afternoon to make themselves a warm glass of milk. Not because you're lacking, but because you deserve a moment to care for yourself. People sometimes ask, how long will it take before I feel the benefits? I just smile. I don't know, but I do know this. If you don't drink it, you will stay weak. Some things don't need to show instant results, yet they quietly preserve your steps each day. My dear friends, we have walked together through a journey long enough to feel like a gentle afternoon over a pot of tea, with me, a doctor, telling stories, and you, my trusted companions, listening. I don't know where you're sitting right now, in your familiar kitchen, on a sunny porch, or in a quiet room far from home. But if you have stayed with me until this point, I believe you are someone who values your health and cares for the body that has bent its back for your family all these years. We've just looked closely at something that seems small, yet in truth is the silent pillar that holds up our entire old age: muscles. Few realize that the dignity, freedom, and independence of later life rests on those small fibers inside our bare arms and legs. When muscles waste away, that's when you need to hold onto walls to stand, need your children's hands to help you to the toilet, and shed tears because you can no longer command your own body. But the good news is, the body never completely closes the door on recovery. All it takes is avoiding two very common mistakes: eating without enough nutrients and sitting too much so the body slips into forgetfulness. And then simply doing three gentle things each day: nourishing your muscles with greens, beans, and nuts, wholesome, loving food, drinking a daily glass of plant-based milk, protein-rich, heart-friendly, and easy to digest, moving, whether that's stepping out into the garden, the park, or simply pacing the familiar paths of your own home. No expensive medicine, no complicated techniques, just the decision to see your own value and keep hold of every part of your body as you would your own freedom. I have seen many people grow weaker in old age, not because of illness, but because they gave up on their own bodies. And I have also seen those close to 90 still slicing their own fruit, washing their own clothes, cleaning their own dishes, not because they were healthier than others, but because they protected their muscles through small daily habits. Old age itself is not frightening. What is frightening is reaching old age and no longer being in control of yourself. And the most beautiful thing is still being able to walk, even slowly, but on your own two legs. If anything I've shared today has helped you, please save this message. One day you might need to hear it again as a reminder not to give up. And if something I've said has touched you, please leave a comment below. As a small promise to yourself, I will keep my steps until the very end of my life. And if you wish, you may say, Namo Amitabha Buddha. Please like this video as a blessing for health, for the resilience of our later years, and share it with your friends and family, because just one click could help someone you love keep their right to stand tall in life. If you can, come back each evening so we can talk again, caring for our health together through gentle but profound ways. Because living long is not enough. We must live well, live steadily, and live without leaning on anyone's hand. I wish you a reason to rise every morning, and may every step you take be one step closer to a peaceful, dignified old age.